Hello everyone, welcome back for some more thrift store finds. I went out to a book sale. Amanda found an advertisement a few days ago and I went to check it out. It was a little more in the middle of nowhere than I thought it was. I recognized the name of the town, but it was out past where I thought it was and pretty much right at the edge of state game land. Like, it was in the middle of nowhere. Weird. Somehow this huge building that was obviously rented out had a big book sale with thousands of books. And day one was yesterday and weren't able to go, so I went today. And normally a lot of stuff's picked through after the first day on these big book sales, but it looked pretty full. It looked like very little had sold, and I could see why about 5 minutes out of being there. I found a few decent things, but overall this was the most overpriced big book sale I've ever been to. Ever. In all the many years I've been doing this. It was crazy. But mixed in with some sections of some vintage books, which were definitely a little bit cheaper for some reason. Maybe I didn't see the value. I found a few good things, and luckily there's one other place I went to, but it was easily over 1,000 books, individually priced, written in pencil inside the covers. I've never seen that before at a sale of this scale. Crazy. And selling things like traditional little children's paperback books that normally at a sale like this are 50 cents to $1, $4.50 to $5. I have no idea what they're thinking. But in with all the vintage books, I actually found a bunch of stuff from around the turn of the century through the early 50s. And I have a Robert Louis Stevenson, Treasure Island, which I think this one is 1919. So that was a pretty cool find. Some good vintage ones that are worth grabbing just for a few bucks. We have Sherry Ames' Army Nurse, Mother West Wind, When Stories, Father Bear and Bobby Bear, a bedtime story. And this one, I remember this one was pretty old. I think this one was this one was like the teens, but so good ones there. And we have Tom Swift and His Airship, Flight of the White Wolf, The Blue Sword, and a few, I think 50s, I believe these ones were, like mid to late 50s, little golden books. They actually had a Tom and Jerry Merry Christmas in pretty good shape, and 3 different copies in slightly varying condition of Tom and Jerry's Party. So I grabbed all 3 for what they were asking. Those are worth grabbing up. And mixed in there, one modern one of these collector's editions of The Scarlet Letter. So one more modern book that would go up like Manus Pengo or something. But so I found a few things decent for what I paid, obviously, but the kicker was the amount of time. The huge trip out there. Definitely, it was okay. It's, worth my time money-wise, but overall, it's a bit of a pain to start that morning and a huge amount of time. But the one good thing was, coming home a certain way, I could swing by and just take an extra 10-15 minutes of driving out of my way and stop by the bargain bins that are the newer ones that are way out there. I happen to be in that general direction, so I found some back roads to get there, and that was great too. I don't know what is going on with that place. I'm going to keep going because for now at least the pricing is consistently good. At first when we went the first time, it's only the 3rd time we've been, and I thought it was just maybe they're brand new, kind of reopening, and no, every time I've been there, and there's been different cashier every time too, I don't know, but the pricing is crazy. So everything from this huge pile next to me that you're going to see here on out, until I get to some stuff from yesterday, was $10.12. I couldn't believe it, a bag full of stuff. Starting off with some Clark Gable on Super 8, The Tall Man. That was a pretty interesting find. I have to go and check that out, but some selected scenes. That's really cool. I never find these old Super 8 things. They tend to be completely destroyed if there's anything left to them, but I don't run into them. So that was a cool little thing to find. Definitely some more VHS. Golden Child. Candle Shoe. That was a good live-action Disney movie. I remember that as a kid. The World of Susie Wong. Scrooged. That's a fun Christmas movie. I like that one. And I always check the recorded off TV stuff. Sometimes I get great stuff with commercials, sometimes not. But here are the Barney and DuckTales. So that's worth at least checking out, because they're fun. I basically paid nothing for it, and if it's anything good enough to sell, I could sell too. A few CDs and then a giant stack of DVDs. I can't believe how much I got for like 10 bucks. Some Nora Jones, a couple different Nora Jones, some Ally McBeal Christmas, and been trying to get a bunch of Christmas stuff as we're heading towards that time of year. Jewel and some Madonna. A couple of Blu-rays, a combo, World War Z. Never seen this before. I have to look this one up. I don't really know what it is, but it is Game of Thrones Conquest and Rebellion. It's an animated Game of Thrones. Never seen that before. It's a 2-disc set, so I'll have to check that out. I was curious what that is. Liam Neeson in Unknown, and Jackie Chan, The Spy Next Door. Then another monster pile of DVDs. We have from the Synergy Archive series, The Killer Shrews. A bunch of these older Paramount standard DVD releases of some Star Trek movies, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Final Frontier, Undiscovered Country, and Insurrection. Sons of Anarchy, Season 2. Snowman, sealed copy of that. We have The Man with the Iron Fists, the extended cut edition of that. Lewis Black, Unleashed, Comedy Central. Lewis Black, I remember very vividly from around this time, around like 2000 to 2004-ish, from some of the earlier days of Comedy Central. That's kind of what I associate him with. This is actually pretty cool, this DVD edition. It's just a standard DVD edition of Schindler's List, but it's a nice digibook style. So that's kind of a nice thing here. It has the booklet in there. It's a little bit of artwork and some stuff about the movie. So just a interesting package for a standard DVD set. Legend of the Guardians, Suicide Squad, Alex Rider, Operation Stormbreaker, sealed copy of Beverly Hills Christmas. A lot of these really crappy made-for-TV Christmas movies, you can find them. They actually sell really well around Christmas time. A sealed copy of Rumpelstiltskin. This is the canon version of Rumpelstiltskin. That's a good find. Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks is one of those weird movies where I've watched it only a few times over the many years, and every time I enjoy it more than I remember liking it. Like, it's just one of those movies that, for some reason in my mind, I like it more than I remember actually enjoying it every time I revisit it. Capote, Scream 3, Letters to Juliet, a Paddington Bear Collector's Edition 3-disc set from Mill Creek, which is 56 episodes, half-hour specials, a whole bunch of the old stop-motion Paddington Bear, and 13 of the animated Adventures of Paddington Bear. So it's actually a really big selection of Paddington Bear stuff from the Mill Creek set. Then we have Hallmark, My Sister's Keeper, Change of Plans, a family movie night movie, and Fully Loaded Action double feature with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. So all that, 10 bucks. That made the trip worth it. I was very happy I made the stop. I wasn't sure if I was going to go out of my way, but yeah, after that pretty disappointing book sale, that was crazy. I couldn't believe, and I wasn't even there very long. Then a few more things, because Amanda and I went out to lunch, and we stopped by a thrift store that was near where we were out to eat, and found a few things that were worth grabbing. Rurouni Kenshin, the new Kyoto Arc, Animal Kingdom, Selznick movie with Myrna Loy, this Storm Warning Pack, 4 complete films, Air Collision, Titanic 2, Super Cyclone, and 200 miles per hour. A bunch of really cheesy, like straight to DVD or Redbox, looks like, you know, Sci-Fi Channel original kind of crap, or like the Asylum or something like that. And then one of these 50 movie packs from Mill Creek, the older Mill Creek 50 movie packs. These can be great with some of the stuff they include. It is a sci-fi invasion, classic sci-fi movies, mostly 50s through the early 80s. few outside that window, but it's a huge set. And one thing I don't need, but I had to grab it for what I found, one of these Columbia House Collector's Editions of I Love Lucy. This is Lucy's Car Trouble, and it includes getting ready and Lucy learns to drive from right when they were getting ready to go out to California, and then the beginning of their trip back from California with Ricky sells the car before they get on the train in that great robbery episode. Fantastic. But I really enjoy these. Out of the three, probably Lucy Learns to Drive is my favorite, so I gave that a watch last night as well when we got back. Last thing I need is more Lucy. But anyway, so that is what I found today. Very different from what I was expecting when I left the house today at like 6:30, but yeah, fantastic. And I just still can't believe, I don't know what's going on with that location, why everything is bizarrely cheap, but hey, I'm not going to complain.